So we are on the Windows automation part.
So, Prem, this is Arun.
Okay, we are.
Yesterday I tried with the VLC media player. I just went to the file portion and tried to highlight something from file to open, but I don't know. Unfortunately, I was not able to. So, if possible, can you cover a little bit of VLC media player? How to highlight that portion, because what you told, the attributes and stuff were very different from what you have shown on the other exe that you were using.
Okay.
I was not able to identify the attributes.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Okay.
So Windows app object. This is what we were discussing in the last class. Let's complete this one, then we'll discuss about what problem you are facing in the VLC media player. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So till this point, we talked about how to launch the app. We saw how to configure the application modeler here. You're not able to dial in. Okay. 1 second.
Question. So if you just save it, and this should, once you have that, this should open, is it? Application modeler, whatever you have saved, already.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute. Actually, I'm not getting time to change this conferencing software. So I was just looking at this WebEx or GoToMeeting, but again, last week I didn't get time. So this also may be the reason why few people are facing some issue while connecting. I think if I try a different service, then we can test that. Hopefully, I'll purchase something this week, and we'll try with that next week. And because people are facing some problem while joining the call, so it can be the reason. So yeah, application modeler is what? Hello, who just joined?
Hi, Jitu.
Hey, hi, Jitu. So application modeler is whatever you configure, right? You have to do apply and OK, and it will be saved for every time. So every time you reopen, the same configuration will be there. You can, however, change anything that you want, and you can add new elements to this for more configuration. Okay. Till this point, we have added start number, password, sign in button, option number, and go button. So this is what we have identified. We have learned how to launch it from Blue Prism, then staff number, then password, then sign in button. We have not passed the values, however. Sign in button. Once sign in button is pressed, then this option number, this field we have identified, and go button we have identified. So there is another screen where we need to provide some value like 2 and press the go button, and this screen will appear. Here, we again have to identify. We'll do this, but whatever we have done, first let's try to automate that, and we'll move this further. So let me check if each of the each of these pages are working fine by individually testing that. So I'm going to run this launch app. It's working fine, and staff number is entering fine. Password is fine, and then sign in button is fine. So this is working fine. So this is the way you can test if each of the individual pages are working fine or not. So they will redirect it to individual pages. We have identified a few more, this and this. So let's create 2 pages for that. Right click, click new, and we'll so in the next page we are going to enter the option number. Then we are going to click on the go button. So right here option number. And here we are going to write something. So what stage should we use here? Write stage. Because we are going to write some value here, right? So write stage, double click. You can name it as input option number, and the element will be option number only. And what we are going to write, for example, we are going to view an existing order. Okay, this is the value, view existing order. You can use a data item and put it here also by placing 2 as value in the data item, but I'm just putting directly value here too. Let's connect this. Now you can create a new page called press go button. Okay, this is another page. So what do we use for navigation? For clicking of the button, we use the navigation stage. You remember we used click sign in button, we use navigation stage. In the same way, we are going to use the navigation stage for clicking of the button. So name it as click go, and element will be go button. Action is global mouse click center. We are clicking on the center of this button. Okay, we are doing a mouse click. That's it. And again, connect this. Let's test the rest part of the application, the latest 2 that we configure. Run this. It is writing 2 fine, and press go here, enter. Please pressing on the go button. Okay, so it is working fine. So let me close this, and now let me show you the proper, the best practice we should follow to, design. I'm just going to save this, saved initial version of training system. So where did I do something like this? So all this part, whatever I designed here, I could have done in a single stage. For example, my launch, training order system is there. Okay, I could have, get a write stage here for write staff number, another for enter password, then another navigation for click sign in, another write for click option number. Okay, I could have got, designed everything in a single page, but I chose to design everything in, other pages. There is a reason for that. Obviously, going forward, we'll be doing most of the things in a single page, but just to show you the demo. But normally, the best practice that people follow in the industry, they don't do like that. So most probably, if you have multiple functionality, you should always create other pages for that. And again, these are very small one. For example, enter staff number. We are entering 1 here. You can choose not to create multiple, fields for enter password and enter staff number. You can choose to enter staff number and enter password in a single page. In this page only, you can choose to write enter password and enter staff number, both in a single page, and you can name enter credential. Okay, that is absolutely fine. But I have just segregated at a deeper level so that I can use it in the Process Studio. So the ideal way for any process and object designing, the workflow designing, is that we'll always use the process stage to design it, and also the Process Studio is the one that we are going to run in the control room that we have. So we'll talk about control room today. And this is the reason I have defined multiple pages. Now we are going to use each of this in the Process Studio. Okay? Just give me a minute. So, so for all these pages to be available in the Process Studio, so all these pages needs to be available in the Process Studio. So what we need to do is we need to publish these pages. Okay, how to publish these pages? Right click and click on publish. Okay, so each of the pages you have to do like that, so it will be published. This is, if you do this, all these pages will be available as part of the Process Studio. Okay, I published all the pages. I'll be saving it like published all pages. Save. Now we can close this or minimize this, and we can go back to the Process Studio. And here we'll create a new process called training order system process. Double click that. And now what we are going to do, we are going to use in the same way what we did for Excel Studio. See, like in Excel sheet what we did. In the Excel we double click and selected the MS Excel VBO or email POP3 for example. MS Excel VBO, and we selected one of the pages. So all of these actions are one page in the Object Studio. These actions are, each of these actions are one page in the Object Studio. So similarly, we have created multiple pages for our training order system, and we have published that. So what we'll do, we'll select those pages as actions in the Process Studio. Okay. So let's select the business object, whatever we created. Windows app object, this was created. As you can see, all the pages are started appearing here. Okay, all the pages that we have designed, they started appearing here. The first is launch app. Okay, and we can name it as launch training order system. And we can, put multiple action stage for each of the action. So another is the next one will be enter staff number. Enter staff number. Then it will be enter password. Okay, so this is the ideal scenario, the way it happens normally. Okay, normally we'll be creating all the business logic, we'll be creating that in the Object Studio, and we'll be connecting everything in the Process Studio. Okay, and if some value needs to be passed, we will be passing from the Process Studio only. Okay. So we'll see that what we'll do is this particular project will pass dynamic value from the Process Studio, and will take input in the Object Studio. We'll pass value from Process Studio to Object Studio. Okay. So let's complete this one. Enter password. Then let's put another 2-3 actions here. After entering password, we'll click on the sign in button. So just select that. Click sign in. Then option number, we'll enter option, and what else we have. Click go. That's it. So we completed our workflow here. Okay, and then we'll just end the process. So let's connect everything and let's run this. You understood, right? What I did here, how I published it, how I'm using it here. There are no errors. Let's run this one. Okay, everything you have to find. Any doubts here? How we connected the process and Object Studio? Fine, right? Okay. So we can do the next step by entering the order number. We can click on the retrieve order, and somehow we can get the product code here. Get the product code here and use it somehow. We'll do that if it is necessary. For time being, that is again easy. That is the same repetition of the task that we have been doing. We have to spy and do that. We have to add few more elements in the application controller that we have, application modeler, and that can be done. We have to add few more steps. But before that, let's do one thing. Okay, so for example, let's try to add the staff number and let's try to take this as an input. Okay, this I'm entering the staff number as 1 here, right? So let's try to take 1 as an input from Process Studio. Okay, let's see how it is happening. So to take the input, we'll always be using the start stage only, right? So start stage, add, and add it. The name is staff number. And description, it is number. And we are going to create a new data item, number data item, add new child. Let's rename it to staff number. S number will be serial number kind of. Okay, staff number. Okay. Okay, we cannot put a dot in between. Staff value. Okay, this is we are going to store it here, and we can enter that value here. Okay, staff value. Then click OK here, and here instead of 1, we can use the staff value, and let's save this and close this, and let's go back here. Okay, here if I double click enter staff number, as you can see now there is something started appearing in the input. So this is the way that we were configuring input in the MS Excel. You remember in the MS Excel VBO when we are selecting something, they were asking to input handle, then workbook name, then sheet name as input. So all these inputs that were mandatory for us to enter, where we enter the workbook name, then handle, they were configured in the Object Studio the same way we just configured in our Object Studio. Okay. So here I can pass a value of 1, and this is number, so it should be fine. And now we can test this. Okay. Similarly, let's do for one more. We'll do for enter staff number and password. For both, we'll configure in the Process Studio. In the Object Studio, we'll configure both staff number and password. So in the password also, what I'll do is I'll create a new data item called password, and data type is number here. Click OK. In the start stage, add a new password field, and you can directly add this. It will take care of the data type. Number it becomes password. Okay, this is different password. This is different password. This is the data item. This is the name that will be populated in the Process Studio. Okay, this one. So click OK here, and just save it and close it. Go back to the here, reset for all the changes to be reflected. Enter password. Now a new value is coming. So we need to enter the password here. Let's enter 1. Okay. And now reset. And now let's try to run it. Now what we are doing, we are not hard coding the staff number and password in the Object Studio. Instead of that, we are passing it from the Process Studio, and the Object Studio will receive it and it can process that. How you can go ahead and do the same for enter option. option that we are using two, so you can use the same one. But I'm not going to do that here. So let's run this. Okay, everything is fine. So so this is working fine. Let's try to do one more thing that is pending. That we'll try to pass some data from Object Studio back to Process Studio. Okay. Till now we have been doing. Till now for this we pass data from Process Studio to Object Studio. Then if the Object Studio is creating some output, we will pass that data back to the Process Studio and maybe use in some for the action. Okay, next action. Any doubts here till this point? Whatever we configure. Okay. So let me check what data we can pass. Here we don't have anything to pass. Okay, so enter go button. Okay. Okay, fine then. So I'll just pass some dummy data, and as an assignment I'll provide you something that is something you can do. But for now, I'll pass some dummy data. For example, after clicking the go button, if I want to do so, let's not pass it here because this is the end of the stage. For example, in the option number. So option number 2 is something we are passing from the Object Studio, and this 2, the Process Studio doesn't know that we are passing to, because we are directly passing from the Object Studio. So let's pass this option in the in the output. So to send in the output, just to show you that we'll always configure in the end stage. Okay, so in the end stage, you have to go to the end stage. You have to add a new row here. You can name it as output option number, for example, output option, and get the value from. So we need to create a new data item, basically a data item, and this data item option data is number and the value is 2, for example. And here instead of 2, let's use the option, and in the go double click, let's get the value from option. This is a I would say not an ideal implementation, but just to show you how to populate the output tab. Okay, output option here and click OK. Okay, with an example, yeah, absolutely. So so what Jitu is asking is that can I show an example in which case we need to send the data from Object Studio to Process Studio, or it's a standard process? So no, it's not like that. It's a standard process. See, for example, there are a lot of cases we have already seen. For example, let's go to the Excel Studio, and we have already seen a lot of steps. So if I go to the Excel sheet example here, all this, so for example, open workbook, all this, okay, here we don't have anything on output. So for example, here, this is whatever we have configured in the output tab, right? So whatever you are configuring in the output tab, so for example, get worksheet as collection. Let's go to get worksheet as collection. So we'll go to the MS Excel view in the object, and here in the get worksheet as collection, if I go to the end state, you see here they have configured data in the end state. Whatever we are doing, they have configured data in the end state. It means they see whatever we are creating here, we are processing. So the Excel sheet that we are writing. So this is one of the best example I can say. Get worksheet as collection. What we are taking in the input, workbook name and sheet 1. This is we are taking in the input workbook name, which is the Excel sheet, and sheet 1. And we'll take all this data and we'll populate in some collection, right? So what we are doing, we are populating this two in the start stage, because this is the input that I need. Okay, and when I go here, whenever I received my input, okay, I'm not able to open it. Okay, I have to close this. So see here what I'm receiving: handle, workbook name, worksheet name. These three I'm receiving in my start stage. So these were mandatory to enter in the get worksheet in get workbook. What is the name? Get worksheet as collection. I provided all this in input. Then I processed those. So it's a very big task to convert all the data from Excel sheet to a collection. But everything is being taken care by Blue Prism only. We did not have to write any code, but it is a very lengthy process. As you can see here, Blue Prism is taking help of another page, check instance, workbook. Then they are writing a lot of code here. You see here, they are writing a lot of code here to convert Excel sheet data to collection. After writing code here, they are doing some, so we are picking data from sheet 1. So they are checking if sheet 1 exists, then that is fine. If sheet 1 doesn't exist, provide an exception, no such sheet. If sheet 1 exists, what they are doing, they are populating each data, worksheet collection data that they have. Here we have worksheet collection, and they are populating in the data collection. This is the reason we are in the output tab, we are getting the data collection. So this is how the data passing does. This is the ideal scenario. In this scenario like this, you can go ahead and pass data back to the Process Studio. Okay. So if you need to do some processing based on your input, all the input I got here, then I wrote some business logic to process my input. And based on the input, I will be generating some output. And this output, I will pass it back to the Process Studio. Why do I need to pass it back? Because in Process Studio, I will use this collection in the subsequent stages. For example, to check if data.married equal to y, to do some further processing for whatever I need in the further stages. That is the reason I need to pass this data back. Okay. So, okay. So we can discuss an ideal scenario, here also. This is one of the best scenario that we got, but we can discuss one ideal scenario here also. But I thought it will be time consuming for me to create a lot of. So what I was talking is that that is something you can do in the Windows app object after pressing Go button here. One I entered here, 2 I entered here. Then, for example, this is the step we did not configure, right? So, for example, I enter an order number of 1, retrieve order. I click that, and now I got all the data. So, what I can do is that I can read the unit order. So, 275, I can read the unit order, and what I can do is that, or what I can do, date order is 10/7/2018, for example, and today's date is what? 15. Okay, so there is a 5 days gap between the date order and today's date. So we can check, we can check something like date order is 10, and if the today's date is 15, there has been 5 days. So we can, put an alert that, okay, it has been 5 days. We can put a condition. If the number of days difference is more than 3, put an alert that, product has to be delivered within 3 days and make it red or something. Okay. Or if unit order is 275, this data, we can pass it back to the Process Studio, and we can put a new data item. We can populate a new data item like, okay, it's a very large order. The quantity is above 200, something like that. So if you want to pass some information from Object Studio, and based on that, if you want to perform some action, you can read this and you can pass it back to the Process Studio. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is this to take this as an assignment and let me know how you are progressing. So this is nothing much. We have done the same thing. Only thing is that you need to, in the application modeler, you need to find out this field in the application modeler, find out this field attribute, then find the attribute of retrieve order. After that, once you find out the retrieve order function, this one, you have to read something like I would say unit order. Okay, read the unit order. Then in the Process Studio, provide a comparison.
So this is Sakshi.
Hey, hi Sakshi.
Hi, sorry I had a conference to attend. I'll watch the video of the earlier part I missed.
Okay, no problem. We were discussing about the Windows automation where we left yesterday. We were continuing from there. Okay.
Okay.
So we have
Yes,
configured few mostly. For example, like the Object Studio that we have been working upon. So we have published those and we are using that in the Process Studio. Okay.
Okay,
It's
sir.
nothing complex. You can just watch the video. You'll be able to understand that.
Okay, sir.
So this training, I'm going to provide you, and I hope all of you understood the assignment. Till this point, we have done that. View existing order. Click the Go button. After this part, this screen, you have to identify the attributes of this thing. So this field you have to identify. This button you have to identify. You have to identify the units order, and you have to read this value. Once you click on the retrieve order, you have to read this value, and after that, you need to pass whatever you read. You need to pass it back to the Process Studio, and there you can put a condition if the unit order is greater than 250. Populate a new data item saying that the order is large. If it is less than 250, populate the data item that the order amount is small, something like that. Okay. Just one thing you need to be careful is that when I'm clicking one here, putting retrieve order, there is you see here, there is around 1.5 seconds delay for this to be populated. So take care of this condition. If like unit order are not populated and you are trying to read it, then you will get an exception. Okay. So there you need to use some like other stuff, like you need to properly handle that, and you can check this. So that is something we are going to discuss later. Whatever I'm talking about, I just gave you an idea that this thing may happen if something is not populated and if you're trying to read. We will see examples of that in the upcoming classes. Okay. Any doubts here? Anything you want to understand? Let me know. In the Process Studio, Object Studio, this Windows automation, any doubts? If you have, let me know. Or in the assignment that I talked about. Fine? All of you are fine with this, right? Okay. So you can try this. If you have more time, then you can go ahead and press 1 here, and you can create a new order also. If you are getting time, you can create the new order. But it is the same thing. It is mostly about identifying these fields and writing data to this and clicking this button. Okay. Okay then.
Can you go to the VLC? Prem, would it be possible for you to go to the VLC media player and identify from file?
Okay.
Opening one file.
Okay. Let's try that. So I'm creating a new object called VLC media, for example. Then double click, and in the application modeler, what I'm going to do, I'm going to same way, going to next, Windows-based application, My application is launched from an exe file, then go to browse, and I'll select the video. Okay, sorry. Program files, video LAN, VLC, vlc.exe. Okay, this is the exe file. Then go to next. We'll put everything as default, the same way we did for the previous example, the training order system. We'll do the same. We'll put everything as default. These are of default settings by Blue Prism only. Go to launch. Okay, so here you are not able to identify any of this, right? So that's fine. Let's try this. Go to identify. Okay, so I'm also not able to identify any of these buttons. So for example, you tried to click on this play button or something. This one you're telling?
New buttons, media, open file.
Yeah. I'm not able to identify. And this is a generic issue with Windows 32 mode. Okay, it's a known issue. There will be few applications that like Windows 32 mode cannot automate. Okay, it cannot identify few of the applications. Okay, so this is something that you will face in a lot of softwares that you are going to. It's not lot of. There will be few softwares where around 80% of the time, 80-90% of the time, Windows 32 mode will work. There will be few applications where Windows 32 mode will not work, even if it is a Windows application. So for that, what you can do, we are going to use the accessibility mode. And I was going to come here to the accessibility mode, and this is something you can use. So for example, see how you can toggle between different mode by pressing the Alt key. So Windows 32 mode, if you press Alt key, it will give you accessibility mode, then region mode. Okay. So let me talk about accessibility mode. This was the next topic that I was going to discuss. So accessibility mode was basically designed to by Microsoft in Windows machine mostly for the help of I would say people who are kind of blind people and people who cannot do a lot of function physically. Okay, they either cannot see things and all, so that they can. There is a way they can access a lot of Windows stuff. So there is something called Microsoft Active Accessibility. Okay, Microsoft Active Accessibility. This is the technology behind this accessibility mode. And this mode, so basically in active accessibility mode, most part of your application will be you can identify most part of the application. So I don't want to go detail about active accessibility technology by Microsoft because this is not useful for us. Just understand that any application that you are not able to identify in Windows 32 mode, then your second option will be go for accessibility mode. So how will you go? By pressing the Alt key in your keyboard, you go to accessibility mode. And see, previously in my Windows 32 mode, if I hover my mouse here, see here there is a red border across the VLC media player. Okay, let me just minimize this so that you can see that. See here. There is this red border here, right? But I'm not able to, highlight the media button, playback button, or the play button here. I'm not able to highlight any of this, right? It means that my Windows 32 mode cannot spy or cannot identify these attributes. However, let's go to the accessibility mode, and let's now try to do. See, now each of these buttons I'm able to highlight. Okay, each of the attribute I am able to highlight. It means that when I automate this, my Blue Prism tool will be able to find out, it will be able to click all this. So what you can do is that, for example, let's click this. Let's click. You can go ahead and click media and then open file and do some stuff here. Otherwise, we'll make it very simple. I just wanted to tell you that accessibility mode will be the best fit for this. You can click on this button, then you can spy and click on this button, and you can find something and you can click on that. So we'll do one thing. We'll just click on this button, because these are all of these are we are able to identify. Okay. Again, going to the open file structure, this is a separate task. We'll again find out about going to here. So basically what you have to do here is go to media, click on open file here. So basically you have to spy this media, click, then you have to spy this, then click there. You have to spy this button, put a right stage here. In the right stage, provide some value like whatever it is there. See, then whatever your file, whatever you want to run, okay, something .mp3 or mp4. Then spy this button and click on open. Okay, you can do this. So we'll just do very simple thing here. Let me. Sorry.
Sagar, yeah.
Yes, Sagar.
Yeah, Prem. Now, as you guys are trying to, this is one of the best examples actually. Now, when we are trying
your voice is Sagar, your voice is not clear to me.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's better. Let's see. Yeah, tell me.
Okay. Now, if I want to launch one of the exes, I mean like one of the media files, what in case if that is into a folder and then that file is into that particular folder? So how many times do I have to spy that? Can you take one small example? If you have any media in VLC that we can play, just in case.
Okay. I'm not able to clearly hear you. Are you asking that how many times you have to spy these things? After launching an exe file, so whatever you need, whatever you do manually, you have to spy that many times. So ideally, in a real-time scenario, if you are using VLC, and if you would have gone by yourself to media, open file, and then select some file, then open, all these steps, whatever you are doing here, you have to make Blue Prism do the same thing for you. So you have to identify media, open file stuff, then this stuff, you have to enter value here automatically, make it click the open. All of this, you have to ask Blue Prism to do it. So were you asking that? You can ping to the tool also, because okay, he is rejoining. Okay, so in the meantime, let me just take one scenario of the VLC. So for example, let's, so what I'm doing, to click on media, control and left click. So you see here, the attributes we got are, quite different from the attributes what we get in Windows 32 mode. And this list is longer compared to the, I would say, the Windows 32 mode.
Okay, can you hear me now, Prem?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell me.
Okay, sorry, I just rejoined. Yeah, so for example, I have to launch a movie which is into a folder which needs to be played through VLC. So now once we clicked on media and then we identified that particular folder. So how many times do I have to spy? I mean, like the folder also have to spy and then the media file.
So I would suggest is that don't go to folder by folder. So I would not suggest go to open file. Then or just I would not suggest to spy this file again, or this file. Then again spy this file, then this file. Because if you want to identify, if you want to go in this structure, clicking deeper into each subfolder, you have to do this. What I would suggest is, instead of doing this, you can directly, you should know the path of the file, and you should directly write here the path of the file. C, then movie, and whatever you want, you can just directly write here, abc.mp4. Okay? Just use a right stage for that and click open. You got my point? If you are going like folder by folder, yes, you have to do like that only. You have to go here, then here, and here again. So instead of that, you can directly write the location of the MP4 file. I would suggest that. So we would discuss another. So I'll just tell you about that. Okay, I have not used that much. There is another VBO that is used for file operation, directory operation, folder operation. So so you can use that if that is useful. But what I would suggest in this scenario is that you can go ahead and put the MP4 file location directly or whatever you want to run. Okay. So that is what it is. And you understood it, right, Sagar, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got your point.
Paste the path instead of writing.
Yeah, even my question was that how can we paste the path? I mean, this is one of the best examples.
Paste the path? So pasting the path means we need to copy the path from somewhere, right? So yes. So Jitu, if you are asking, can we do a Control C and Control V? Because till now we have not passed command from the keyboard. Still now you have not seen me passing enter button from the keyboard, enter Control C, Control S from the keyboard. But yes, we can do that. We can do that. That is part of, maybe we'll discuss that after next class. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll pass Control C, Control V, Control S, and everything we'll do. Okay, I'll show you that. That is there, how to pass Windows key. So that is a very useful thing. So whatever you are doing here, if you know shortcuts, so for example, there will be a lot of shortcuts here. So for example, if you go to Notepad, there will be a lot of shortcuts people will be using, right? Control S is obviously for saving. There will be in the Microsoft Word, they will be pressing Alt S, Alt D to delete one line. I'm not sure if I'll be deleting. Okay, Control D will be deleting one line. Then Alt Enter will create a new line. All of these shortcuts are there, right? So all of that, we'll see how that happens. Okay, how to pass Windows keyboard shortcuts from the keyboard and pass it to your application. We'll see that. So for this example, okay. So in the accessibility mode, the number of attributes that you get are way too much. Okay, it's way too long than whatever we did in the Windows 32 mode, and the amount of attribute they rely upon is also huge. See here the amount of they rely upon. Let's try to highlight. It's highlighting fine. It means it will be able to click on the okay, anyone is asking anything? It will be able to click on the media button. After that, if you want, you can add a new element and then click on media. Then here, okay, I have to click on identify for that. And you have to go to accessibility mode, click on media, and here the open file, see each of them are identifiable. So wherever your this highlight thing is coming, right? So you can highlight this one. Okay, you can capture that one. So these are also possible. So let's play this one. So let me just okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going to open recent media, click on Control and left click. So there will be, in this active accessibility mode, you are going to face a lot of problems. So you need to find some, workaround for that. Maybe click here. See, it is not getting few of the value. Okay. So most of the things, whatever we are seeing here, active accessibility mode, this is something, I also wanted to discuss later. There will be a lot of shortcuts that you need to pass. Okay. Alt media, then, a lot of shortcuts. See, for example, I'm not able to get the drop down menu one of the value here. See, there is nothing here. There is I'm not able to do this. Okay. So if you are not able to do something again here, you need to take the help of some other mode. Like for example, region mode you can take the help of. We'll discuss that later. Okay. So whatever is possible here. So for example, what I was trying to do is clicking on the media is fine. Clicking on the media is opening. But again, I'm not able to, drag my mouse and put it over the open recent media, because this is not a direct static button. This is not a button like audio, video, and subtitle. This is just a on the fly created menu. Okay, this is not a button. It is a menu. So to get something like this, again, see, I'm not able to get that value, so I may have to take the help of some other, I would say mode of operation. So control and the left click. Okay, here I'm able to, but let's see, if we are able to get that. So first, what I will do is, if I highlight it now, I'm not sure if it will highlight, because it is not present here. After clicking on media only, it's present. So highlight. So it is not highlighting properly, and it is telling unable to match item. There are multiple values. So you need to filter this value, for which exact value this is matching. The way the error was same in case of the previous execution, right? So we needed to find out the ordinal value and all of that stuff. So out of all this list, you need to somehow find out, maybe click on the ordinal, match index, and you need to find out of all these attributes, the matching attributes, which get that drop down value. Okay, there are other ways to get the drop down values also. We'll see that later when we discuss about region and all that stuff. But have to do some, kind of hidden trial from this list when you're trying to highlight the drop down. Okay, you got me from here. What I'm trying to say, how to handle such exception which Windows 32 mode cannot handle. So highlight. Then we need to basically click, put a click state, and then highlight the element 1. So it is still not highlighting. It is Windows with a multiple query. So basically, you can try to find out this, why it is doing multiple data. So for this set of matching results, there are multiple data which are doing the same thing. So basically, you need to find this a pair of value which does the same thing. Okay, fine. You understood, right, what we need to do. Again, there are other ways to find out this. When we discuss about region mode, we'll see how we can take a screenshot of this. So what we can do is, in region mode, is that we'll take a screenshot of this particular application by opening media, and we have to go to the same particular one where we have kept the screenshot, and based on X and Y coordinate of the application, then we need to click on that. That is something we'll see when we discuss about region mode. For now, try to use the Windows accessibility mode for whatever application that you are not able to identify. So Windows 32 mode, if Windows 32 mode is failing, then try for your the second one, accessibility mode. Okay, any doubts here? So this case, you will get the same problem if you want to do for any other stuff. So for example, let me show you the same problem here also. So if you go to Windows Media Player also, you cannot identify that through your normal. Let me just show you. If I am using Windows Media Player, then also I'll not be able to spy this. I'll not be able to use the. I'm not sure where Windows Media Player will be there. Okay, so And also, if I launch it, the Windows Media Player, if I use identify and Windows 32 mode, I'll not be able to style. I'll not be able to click this button, or I'll not be able to play this video. I'll not be able to do anything. Only the outer skin, because which is of no use. The outer skin here and here. See, I'll not be able to click on the library also or nothing. So this part. So for that also, you have to You have to use the accessibility mode. And if you want, the accessibility mode is highlighting anything. So if you want, you can maybe select this and then click on the play button. Okay. So control and left click, and it is highlighting fine. Okay. Any doubts here? Let me know if you want to understand something, or how things will be done. At a deeper level, we have to spend a lot of time for identification purpose. So that this is something you have to do, by looking at the attributes. Okay. Let me know if you want to, understand anything here. For example, let's play that in Windows Media Player. To play that also, you can use a navigate stage and click stage, whatever you have identified. Element 1, global mouse click center, click OK here. Then element 2, global mouse click center, click OK. And you can just connect it and run.
Prem, this is Arun here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Arun, tell me.
So one question. So you're using the application modeler, and after that, you can't run anything directly from the application modeler. You have to use and navigate stuff.
Sorry, see, I used application modeler. Then, so basically application modeler is just to identify the attributes of the button or whatever you are trying to identify. So the workflow you have to do in the Object Studio only.
Okay.
Are you asking that?
Yeah. That's
to connect.
That's what I want.
Yeah. So in the application modeler, you can test it. So basically, you can launch it, for example, and if element 1 is working fine or not, then you can highlight it. Okay, it's highlighting fine. So I'll be able to click on this movie. Okay. Then element 2, after clicking on this movie, what do I want? I want to play this movie. Or the second is the double mouse click. If I double mouse click here, it will play. Or I can simply click here and click on this button. So element 2 highlight, it is highlighting fine. So I'll be able to do that.
I think the voice is crackling in between sometimes. I don't know if everybody is facing the same kind of problem.
Prem, yes, your voice is crackling a lot in between. Maybe some connection error at your end.
Voice is not audible properly?
No, it's crackling in between from last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm also facing the same issue. Like, whenever I'm hearing from your side also some disturbance. So, let me rejoin then, but because I don't see. It's breaking, right? My voice is breaking?
It is clear now, but in between that episode comes up.
Okay.
I would suggest if you can rejoin just in case.
Okay. Sure. So let me continue. If there is any disturbance, then let me know. I'll just rejoin. And for now, we can continue. Okay.
So one question, Prem. So whenever we need to, find out those buttons, for example, in this case it's VLC. So we will use this navigate tab, right? And whenever we found out the particular tab that we actually are interested in, and then we'll take an action stage over there. Is that correct?
So navigate is something that we will use for, I would say, clicking on something. So for example, in Windows mostly, so navigation means that, going from one to another. Okay, navigation means that actually. But in Windows, application automation, navigation will be used for breaking. Okay, let me rejoin. I'm rejoining this. Hello? Is it audible now? Hello?
Yeah, better, but it tracked in between. But let's continue.
No, I'm not able to hear you properly. Let me just rejoin from mobile once. Wait.
I think the problem is that all ends because even I was not able to hear you properly. Arun, can you hear me?
And your voice is also crackling, so I will also rejoin.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me properly now? Hello? Are you able to hear me? Anyone?
Prem, I can hear you, but again, same stuff happened again. Let me see. Prem, you can hear me well?
Hello?
Yeah, Prem, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Better than prior, but again, voice breaked in between. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So, not sure what is
That's fine.
happening.
Let's continue.
Okay. Okay, sure. So I'll try to take some other service just that I'm not getting time to take also. So let's see. I'll use
So
some
one
other.
question. So the application model is basically a proof of concept, to actually select what you want, and then based on that you can model that in your Object Studio by writing.
Yeah, right. So yes. So for example, my aim is to enter one here, and click sign in here. So the first question that comes into mind is, where do I enter this one? I would enter the staff number. So Blueprism should be able to identify this position, this field, and this field. So to find out this field, this is the job of application modeler. Basically, we identify this field, and this field. You got the
Screen, are you showing anything on the screen, because your screen is hanged?
Okay. A lot of problem today then. What I can do is just wait. It is from my side. So let me do one thing. Let me read them all together. Let me restart my otherwise this connection. Okay, so let me start. Yeah, so Arun, you are correct that time. When we are talking about what the application modeler does and what the Blueprism workflow that we are creating, what that does. Okay, so basically we'll be identifying the places where we need to enter values using the application modeler. So for example, here, the first thing that we'll get is the main window where we'll be providing the exe file while configuring. This is where it will launch. Then whatever field I want to enter value upon, staff number, password, click the sign in button. All this I want to use in my process. This is how I want it to be configured. This is how I want it to be automated, that automatically enter staff number, enter password, click on the sign in button. So I need to configure, I need to find out where those buttons are out of the whole application. That is something I'll do in the application modeler. That is something I'll configure here. Once that is done, then I'll start entering value, from here. So for example, I launched from here, then I started entering values here. So whatever I have identified in the application modeler, for example, staff number, I'm using the same element here to enter some value. What is the value? The staff value data item which contains 1 or 2, whatever. Okay. So this is the actual use case. Okay. So there was some other question I forgot. Okay, so this is all we have will do. Now going to that VLC or Windows Media Player, that application we were seeing. So here what we are doing is that we could not we could not run that using the normal Windows 32 mode. So there will be few applications which you cannot run using Windows 32 mode. So that is something you need to do in Windows Accessibility mode. Okay. And again, using Windows Accessibility mode also, it may not be direct. We may have to take the help of some other mode like region mode and all. That is something we'll discuss later. But try to check if you are able to do everything in Windows Accessibility mode. Otherwise, that drop down that we saw, right? We are not able to click on the drop down because it was telling, highlighted multiple items. So for that, just check at home if you are able to, select out of this value any unique value in accessibility mode, like ordinal, index by, or some other value. Try to remove the blank value and try to see if you are able to highlight that. That is, if that is fine, then if you are able to do, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, if you have some special requirement to do Windows Media Player, then it may take some time for me to find out which attributes work, which attribute does not, because the list is very huge in this, accessibility mode. But if you want, then I can do this at home and I can show you this. I have to actually find out which attribute works and which attribute is not, because it's completely dynamic. There is no rule for this, that this will work. Sometimes it may not work. Sometimes it may work. So try this. Otherwise, if all of you have some, if you want to do some application, other application also, then I'll do that for you and I'll show that to you in the other classmates. And this one, the Windows Media Player, we were facing the same issue. So basically here, basically what we'll do is I identified in the same way. Let me just launch it. I did not launch it. So basically Windows Media Player, you have to launch that. After that, after launching, then we have identified this element in the accessibility mode. So what I'm doing, I'm clicking on the movie, global mouse click center. Then what I'm doing, element 2, this is also global mouse click center. And then reset. And then let's see, I was getting some error. So selecting and clicking automatically. So the movie is, is working fine. So this is the way, you have to do this if it is not working. So another way for this was to, what we did here in the Windows Media Player is, I launched it, then I clicked it, then I clicked it here. So there is another option called, you can go here and, okay, the option is not there. The option is not there. Otherwise, if there is a global double mouse click, you could have used that. Okay. So if you get the option of global double mouse click, what you can do is you can double click here like this, and the movie will start running. So it's the same way, but Blue Prism does not provide that option here, so you don't have any ways. We cannot enforce something, so we have to use Global Mouse Click Center. Okay? So that is, that is what I wanted to discuss as part of this accessibility mode. So how to configure active. See, the element type is active accessibility here. Okay, here, active accessibility. The second one, the play button, is a button here, obviously, so it's the element type is button. But this is how the active accessibility works. Microsoft Active Accessibility. I'm not sure. I guess they will be having some accessibility settings in Windows also. If you want, you can check that, but that is of no use. So this is how the active accessibility mode works. So the rule is, if it is not working in your Windows 32 mode, then go for that. Any doubts? Anything here that you want to discuss? Let me know if anything in the Windows automation.
Can you click on one of the navigate buttons?
Okay. Navigate button, yes. So this navigate button is for launching, and this navigate button is for provide some like element and clicking on something. Okay? Yeah, tell me.
Okay.
So navigate will have a multiple purpose. So for example, I use, you have to use navigate for launching any application. So launch is must because you are navigating to that application. That makes sense that you are launching something. And this navigate here is to clicking on the, button. So clicking on something and clicking on the elements 2, element 5, something like that. So you have to use the navigate stage. So launching something or clicking on something, clicking on any button, we have to use the navigate stage. These are the use cases of navigate stage, because we don't have a option of clicking something. That click option, global mouse click or global mouse click center, double mouse click, and all of that will come under action stage only. So which is present in the navigate. So you have to use navigation for clicking on any button also. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Fine.
Okay then. So this is what I wanted to discuss for Windows Meet. Okay, one more stuff. So there can be few applications. So see, Blue Prism, this tool that you have. I'm using version 5, and in the upcoming version, that version 6.2 has already launched. Okay, I'll provide you the version 6.2 tool today. I'll upload that. You can use the latest version, which is 6.2. Apart from that, in the upcoming version also, they are improving the tool in a very well manner. So there will be a lot of you can say, because these tools and this whole RPA ecosystem is at a initial stage, I will say. Okay, and the tools are evolving very rapidly. So there are a lot of stuff which sometimes you'll feel that it's broken, and sometimes you'll feel that this is not the way to do it. It can be optimized, and I believe that they will be coming in the coming release of the software that they have. For example, if you try to automate few of the applications, so if you try to automate the calculator application in Windows 10, let me show you this scenario because you may run into this scenario. Let's try to automate the calculator in Windows 10. So people who are using Windows 7, they will not feel any difference. It will work fine for them. But for users who are using Windows 10, I'm not sure about what happens in Windows 8. But let's try to automate the calculator, for example, and let's see what issue we run into. Calculator, go to next, double click, application modular, next, Windows application, exe file. Okay, let's find out the Okay, I'm getting a call. Okay, so calculator most probably will be in Windows. Then, okay, what is the path of calculator? Let me check that. It's in C Windows System 32 calc.exe. C Windows System 32. And here. Okay, this one is the Windows calculator, calc.exe. So go to next and leave everything as default. Now let's try to launch the calculator from here. Okay, it's launching fine. But let's try to, for example, let's put 1 plus 2 here. Okay, let's try to do that. See, when I launch the application, my identify button is not coming here. In other Windows application, what is happening? When I launched it, I was able to identify the different buttons here, right? So, but just see here, it will come for a very microsecond. I'm just going to close this. It will come for, less than a second. I'm going to click this. You see here, there was an identify. There was identify coming for me to identify. See this one. But again, for for a microsecond, and it's just it's getting away. I'm not able to identify. So here, what I will be doing, I cannot I cannot identify any of this calculator. I cannot automate this calculator because I won't be able to automate the how to press button 1 and button 2 here because Blue Prism. This is a bug. This is a mistake from Blue Prism side in the version 5. I'm not sure. I guess it's still there in version 6. I guess. So something like this, application like this. There was a girl in the other batch. She was also telling that she was trying to automate one of the application. Not sure which one. She's facing this issue. So sometimes in very rare cases, these are very rare cases, you will not get the identify button. Okay, the identify button will not come only. So there is no way you can automate this because going to the Windows 32 mode, accessibility mode or region mode or whatever mode you have, that will come once you click on the identify button, once you are trying to identify each of these keys. But if the identify button will only not come, you can do nothing. Okay, so you will get some, like issue like this. But if you're working with real-time project and if your company has taken proper Blue Prism license, if your company is working on, Blue Prism, then what you need to do is you can send a mail to Blue Prism, maybe from your admin side or something, that this application we are not able to attach its instance from from the Blue Prism side for this application, and they will give you some connectors or they will give you some solution. It happens like that. If you are facing some generic problem and that is an issue from Blue Prism side, then you can send them a mail from, but you have to be the official partner of Blue Prism. Your company has, must have the actual working license of Blue Prism. They have to purchase the Blue Prism tool. In that case, you can, have a mail sent to them, and they will provide a fix for you or a connector for you. Okay, I guess there are some connectors for, there is some connector for this calculator app. That is something I don't know, but this is the way that this is the way that it is done. You are not able to identify something because this is something we don't have any mistake here. Okay, this is the Blue Prism mistake, so that you can do. Okay. Any doubts here? Okay, 1 second.
Works in Windows 7, same calculator application, but it will not work in Windows 10.
Yeah, it works in Windows 7. Only problem is this Windows 10 only. It works good in Windows 7.
Thank you.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Okay. Let me just give me a minute. Okay. I thought it will work in some other way. Okay, fine then. So sometimes, the Microsoft like programs runs with Microsoft dot the name, and if it works this way, then normally I was trying if this is just for me. Okay. Okay, so that is something I wanted to discuss. I was just checking if there are some other ways we can, do this. So those are the a few of the issues that we face in Windows application automation. Mostly, most of the time you will be able to do that using your Windows 32 mode, but few of the times you won't be able to, so go for accessibility mode. And there will be few application in case if you are not able to attach an instance of that to Blue Prism, just mail it to Blue Prism that this instance I'm not able to identify. But that is, like I guess 1 or 2 cases out of 100 cases that you will see something like that. Rest of the things should work fine. Okay. So as an assignment, as I told, I hope you understood what you need to do in training order system. In training order system, you have to take it further because I just did till this part. You have to take it further, enter here, retrieve everything, get the value, pass it back to the Process Studio. All this you need to do. Or click 1 here and enter all value here and submit. You can do all this as well. This is something you can do. I have downloaded one exe file, so people who are running Windows 10, people who are running Windows 7, they can directly go ahead and use the calculator in their home system. People who are in Windows 10, you will not be able to, automate the calculator. So if you want, I have downloaded an exe file. I can provide you this. This you can automate fine. So for example, if you are planning to do some operation like this, then you want to read the value and you can do this. Okay. So you can do this. I'll provide you another assignment that is something Blue Prism provides us as part of Surface Automation. There is something called Surface Automation, but you can do that also for your Windows automation. And that is a complex one. That is a very complex, I would not say very complex, but it's a complex compared to all this. So work on this for a few days because this is also, it will take some time. And that part I'll provide you later. Okay, so it doesn't limit it to this. You can pull out, you can take any application, any Windows application and try to do that. Okay, so if you have any real-time application, then I would suggest if you can go ahead and do that. If you have anything in your laptop installed, like if any companies, like few people will be having some Salesforce or Oracle application installed, right? So you can do that also. But the way to do that is going to be similar. Okay, there is nothing much here. Only thing is that we have not discussed with you many is the wait state. So that is something we'll discuss when we discuss the web automation. We'll discuss. So the one I'm talking about is when you, for example, do this and press 1 and 1 here. I was talking that if I enter 1 here, this retrieve order. So see here, it takes around 2 seconds to be, or 1 second to be populated. But before it is populated, if you are trying to read this, you will get an error. Okay. So if you want your system to wait for around this 1 second or 2 seconds, the loading time, whatever it is taking, you can go ahead and use the wait state. That is something we have not discussed. If you want to try it by yourself, you can go ahead and do that. But we are going to discuss this when we do for web application automation. Okay. But this can be useful, and this can be necessary in Windows also, Windows application. So whenever there is a transition between screens, or wherever there is a data loading and the system is taking more than 1 or 2 seconds, then you have to use the wait stage. Otherwise, your system will try to read something which is not present there, and it will give you an error. Okay, understood this? Okay then. So, yeah, Jittu, tell me.
Can you please go to that wait thing again, please? I beg your pardon. Sorry.
Okay. Just that I have not discussed about wait stage. I'm going to show you the working of wait stage in the wait application, because I don't think this is the ideal scenario to use the wait stage. Whatever we have discussed till now, if I get some scenario, I'll use that. But in the web application automation, we'll see this. What, you wanted to know something here?
So what is the relevance of this?
The relevance is, see, for example, that's what I was saying. In Windows automation, I don't find some relevance, but I was just giving you this example. If your system is failing, so if your system is failing here, so not failing, see here, when I press 1 here and put retrieve order, I'm just going to click this, okay, and it takes around 1.5 seconds to get. See, it's loading. So if before it is getting loaded, if you are trying to read, it will fail. So in such scenario where the system is taking some time, put a wait state, and after that try to read, so that the system will not read the unloaded data. That is the relevance of the load state. So this is much more convenient in I would say web automation. So for example, let me go to Flipkart, for example. Okay, and if I'm trying to open Flipkart, after that, sometimes, I have a good internet connection, but if you have a less than 2-3 Mbps connection, then it may take some time for things to be loaded, right? So if I am, for example, searching Adidas shoe or something, then clicking enter here. Once I click enter here, the next screen that populates is it Adidas bags. If your internet is slow, it will take around 3-4 seconds to be loaded. And in that time, if it is not loaded and you are trying to read something, your system will fail. It will give you error. So that is the case where we'll be waiting for the system to be loaded. As soon as it is loaded, we'll try to do our operation. You got the point? This time, that white time was there, right? My internet is fast, otherwise it takes some time to be loaded. And for example, I am trying to read this information here, Adidas baby. But this will not be present only. So it will fail, and that time we'll use the wait stage. Okay?
Thank you. Yep, thanks.
Okay. So, not sure what to do now. We can start the web application automation, or we can continue from the next class, the web application. Okay, let me just show you one part. We have some time instead of going to web application automation. Let me just close this. Okay. So one thing is that in real time, we are not going to, we are not going to run an application by going to the Studio tab. So in real time, as a developer, people who are actually working on the core technical part, the developing the solution. Just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. So we're not, we're not going to, we as a developer are going to test this by running this. That is fine. But when we actually run it, no one is going to come here, open this up, and run this, because people who are doing a final run of the application, it may happen that they do not understand how an action stage work, how the choice work, and what are these things, why should I run slow, fast. They may not understand that. So this is only for, I would say developers, people who, actually develop the workflow, the one that we have been doing. It is very useful for us. But the actual, the running of the application does not happen here in the Process Studio or in the Object Studio, okay? So that happens in the control room, okay? That happens here in the control room. So in large companies, what happens, so if you go to companies like EY, Deloitte, and then Accenture, people who are working with a lot of projects of these kinds of projects. So in this project, whatever, whoever is their client is, for which they are running the, Blue Prism process, those client side, the client will have a team called bot monitoring team or, control room team. There are different names to the team. Some will say control room team, some will say bot monitoring team or bot team. There are a lot of names, okay? So their only job is to run this, workflow. So I'm going to use this word called, they'll be telling it as bot monitoring team, BOT, and we'll be telling this name to our workflow that, if we are running 5 workflow, we'll tell that 5 bots are running in the system, okay? So there will be different teams to run that in large projects. So if it is a small project, then you may be, if there are 2-3 person, all total there are 2 person, then you are the person you need to do this. But if it is a customer project, then most probably there will be a separate team who manage the bot. Your only job as developers, only job will be to implement the logic. For example, I want to do the Excel sheet automation. I don't care about how you run this, when you run it, what schedule they run into. I will just, implement my logic, and I will check in my local system. It is working fine, then that's fine, okay? But this system needs to be run somewhere, right? And that is the control room. And as I said, there will be different people to run it. So what happens in most of the cases in client project, this is something we'll discuss later. We create a new release of the file. This is something, we're not going to touch today. Basically, we create a new release of our project, and we send the release file to, people in the client side. And if they are maintaining their server, the client, then their team will run the release file. We'll be developing the whole system and package it in the release file. They will run it. If they are outsourcing the complete release to us also, then we'll deploy it from our side also. There are 2 scenarios. Few clients are asking that you only develop the solution. We will deploy in our server. Few companies are completely outsourcing the whole project, that you develop it and you also take care of the release of the application. Okay. So in the control room, what we are going to see today is how this gets deployed. Okay, this is something, if you are a developer, I guess you won't have the chance to do it in real time. In fact, if you create a new user, for example, go to security, and in the system go to security, in the user, if you create a new user, for example, anything, and if you, okay, let's skip this. If I'm assigning them a role of developer, okay, you see developer only gets, permission. This is the permission which tells that which tab in the tool the new, person gets access to. So they normally get access to the Process Studio and Object Studio, the developer, because they are just going to develop the application. See, whatever we have done in the Process Studio, Object Studio, we did not have any work outside. So I don't care, what is control room, scheduling, I don't care, okay, what is release manager. But as I said, if you are the only person or if you are a very small team, then you need access to control room, dashboard, and other tabs. This is the reason I was telling developers normally don't use much of the control room. There is a separate team for that. So if you have a system admin, you'll be having access to all, and you can do all all kinds of activities. Apart from developing, you can deploy the applications also. Okay. So let's see how the control room works and how we can deploy our application there. In this side, as you can see, my application are there. Okay. If I need to deploy an application in control room, what I need to do is I need to publish my application. So what do I have to do? So for example, in the Studio tab, okay. In the Studio tab, let's go and pick something. Okay, sorry, this is the wrong one. Excel sheet example, what do we have here? Okay, so let's try to run this, for example, in the control room. So what we'll do to publish, we need to publish this to be available in control room. How to publish a process? This is very important. Okay, just concentrate on this because this is something that happens in real time. People publish, you as a developer, you need to publish the process. How to publish it? Here. We have not, talked much about this box. This is the information box. Okay, double click on that. Okay, here you can write some precondition and post condition. Basically, people write some code here, but that is not required for us. Just look at the bottom of the page. There is something called publish this process to control room. Okay, we'll click here, publish this process to control room, and click OK. What is the name of this? Excel sheet example, and we are now going to save it, saying that it is published. And click save, and then close. And now if you go to control room, June 9 to 11, as you can see the process that we have published, it is available here in the in our session. So I'm under session management and it is available in my session, Excel sheet example. Now I can choose to run this in my server. So now my system is acting as a server. If your connection is connected to some actual Blue Prism server, that server name will come here. That is something we can discuss in some other class, more detail about it, how in real time it will get connected to server, how we can drag and drop to server. It requires a little bit more time. In this, leftover time, we have few minutes left. I'm just showing you how we can deploy in control room. Okay. Once that is published, it will start appearing here. Once that appears, you need to click it, drag and drop, and put it in the server. Okay. I'm putting it in my server because my machine is acting as both client and server. Once I put it here, it will start appearing here. You see here, Excel sheet example, resources desktop, my desktop name, I'm the admin, status is pending, and start time is 10:49:23 seconds. Okay. Now it is pending. I can right click and start it, or I can click here and start the selection. Okay. So if I start it, let's start it from here. Okay. You can also right click and start. Let's start it from here. I'm not sure if I clicked it or not. Okay, let's start it from here. So it will see the now status change to running and now status change to completed. Did you see how fast it is? The same example we are running individually, the same example, Excel sheet example, this one, and it was taking, it was passing through all of these stages, through decision stage from a collection and writing to Excel sheet, reading initially from Excel sheet, and it was taking around, 2 minutes or something like that, or one minute like that. But it got completed in around under 2-3 seconds. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so there is a huge performance difference also. If you run in control room, it will be, completed. See here, it started at 10:49:59 this one, and it completed at 10:50:03. So how much time it took? Around 3 seconds, 4 seconds. It took around 4 seconds to be completed. But if you go ahead and run in the Studio tab, it will take around 1 minute time. So this is the advantage here. So apart from the real use case that we see in real time, obviously, everything is going to be run from control room only. This is the way people, who run the system are not aware with the technical functionality. They will just select, drag and drop, and their work is done. They will monitor here. Okay, they will, status will be running, completed, terminated. There are 3 status. One is pending, one is running. There are 4, sorry. One is pending initially, then when you started it's running, then 2 output, either completed or terminated. So 4 status: pending, running, completed, or terminated. Okay, based on that, we'll get the output. Okay, and we'll talk more about this in the next class. I just thought that I'll let you know that this feature, this is one of the most important feature that goes into real-time scenario. I just wanted to talk about this. We'll talk in detail more about this in the next class. There are a lot of stuff in control, this one, work queue, scheduling and all of that we'll talk. But this is also one of the very good feature. Any doubts here?
No, Prem. Prem, do you have the Blue Prism manual of what your training and stuff? I heard that was in the first class, so I think I missed it somewhere.
Which one?
I mean, manual of what are the classes and stuff.
I don't maintain such a manual because see, I run from here and there sometimes also. I cover few of the topics here and there. If you want, I can send you a manual, whatever we have been discussing, and what are the plans. I can send you that.
Yeah, that will be helpful. And the second thing is, we have learned desktop automation. I mean, with desktop application automation. So if there is a Facebook or a WhatsApp desktop application, you can automate using this one, the one that you've taught now.
Facebook desktop application. Okay. Facebook has a desktop application. I didn't know that. Yeah. So obviously, if it is desktop automation, you have to automate from here only.
No.
Like.
I just took an example.
Like.
WhatsApp has a desktop application.
Oh, is it? I didn't know about that. If it is a desktop application, you can automate that. Does WhatsApp have a desktop application? Are you talking about the web.whatsapp? If you're talking, this is a web application only. I'm not sure if WhatsApp has a desktop application. If this is the case you're talking about, these are like web application. If there is any desktop application, then you can surely download that and do that.
Oh, it's WhatsApp web only. Correct. That's what it is.
So that is a web application. So that is the different scenario. You can go ahead and try some other application, because this WhatsApp, Facebook, Google, these are pure example of websites. So you can go ahead and download some other web application. There are like thousands of web application available, and you can go ahead and try to automate that. Okay. Next class we'll start from the web application. So you'll be familiar with that also. Okay. Any other doubts, guys?
Upload the videos for yesterday and today.
Yeah, sure. Yesterday and today, so I'll upload that. And this exe file also I'll upload so that you can practice this.
Okay, and the new version as well, if you don't mind.
Sorry?
Version 6. Version 6
I'll upload. So version 6, you need to you install that. So and you need to run that through Run as Date software. You need to run that through Run as Date. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want is that I would not suggest to do everything in version 6. Have a look and feel how that tool looks, and if you find much difference, you can go ahead. Because most of the projects in the industry is running in version 5 only. So, but if you want, I would recommend to have a look, because that is the latest version. But working on that or something, that is your decision. You can go ahead and do that. I'm not sure again if you can like install both version and 5.6 simultaneously, or you need to uninstall that. I sometimes run in the virtual machine, so I don't have to care about. So be careful before uninstalling and installing new version. Make sure you don't lose other data. So be careful about that. Be careful about the database name and connection name. Make a note of that, the database name and connection name that you get, and you can reuse that in other version maybe. Okay?
One last question, Prem, if you don't mind. I'm sorry I'm taking your time. I know you're not going to rush for a breakfast, but before that, just a quick question.
Yeah, tell me.
If I understand the object face correctly, say if I'm doing Windows automation. So basically, when we are using the navigate stage, it is moving from one stage to another. For that reason, we use a navigate stage, right? And action stage. And action stage action stage is something where we take a particular action at that particular stage. Is my understanding correct?
Somewhat. Not. I would not agree with you completely. So see, the navigate stage. Don't go by the name that it will navigate to. To you somewhere to some other page or something like that. Navigate stage normally we'll be using that. So that is part of Object Studio only. Navigation is something not present in the Process Studio. And navigate stage, as I said, will be used for multiple purposes. The first one is for launch an application. Launch application will use the navigate stage. In fact, let me check if we have some documentation for navigation. Okay, see here, you can read about the navigate stage. It has a documentation, and you can read more about this and what is the properties of that, and you can go ahead by clicking this question mark here. Okay, this is the help section. But from my side, I can say you'll always use it to launch an application, and second is to click on any button. Okay, click on any button or field, I would say. These two, are the application of navigate stage. Okay. In future classes, we'll see how we can pass the control from our keyboard. For example, instead of clicking on the save button, okay, maybe instead of clicking on the save button, we can do a Control S, or we can do something. So that can be a replacement of few of the application of navigate. But primarily, these are the functionality of navigate. Launch application and click on any button or field. You can read more about that here, or I'm not sure if I have provided you the basic documentation. There also you can read all about the navigate stage. So otherwise, I'll upload that, and you can read about all of this there. So I'll be providing you this foundation training document if I have not yet. And you can read all about navigate stage. I'm not sure. So you'll get it somewhere, okay? In the Object Studio, maybe using a navigate stage, okay? You can read more about here on the launch page, add a navigate stage and link in between start and end. So launching of the application. So you can read it more about the navigate stage here. Launch the action in the drop down, something launching. So that's it. That order system example we discussed. That is something okay, some noise was there. Okay, so I'll provide you this document. You can read more about anything that you want. It's around a 160-page PDF and contains everything, all the syllabus that we are going to discuss. So if I have not provided you it yet, you can just go through this. So as I said, navigate, this is the primary purpose. And the action most probably will be using that in the Process Studio. So whatever we created in the Object Studio, for example, we created, one second. We created this, the Windows Media Player or Windows App Objects, right? So we created multiple pages here to enter staff number, enter password, click sign in. So these pages are accessible in the action stage, okay? And for example, let me drag and drop the action stage. Double click and select your business object. What is your business object? Windows Media Player? No. Windows App Object. And you can use these pages, enter staff number, then enter password and everything here in the Process Studio. So this is I'm doing in the Object Studio. Don't be confused. Enter password, everything, all of this you can use in the action stage. Action stage is basically whatever you publish in the, whatever pages you publish in the process, in the Object Studio, those pages will be available as individual action in the action stage. You got the point. Now if you go here, what was the name? Here, it will be available in the action in the action state. Right action. So see here, all the pages. These are one page. These are the page names in the Object Studio. I'm able to select that. So based on your workflow, whatever you need, I need launching it, entering this to, then clicking in sign in. And based on your workflow, you need to prepare the workflow, and you can do that. So this is the difference. So we cannot compare action stage and whatever the navigation. Those are separate entity, but these are the functionality of those. Okay. Try doing it by yourself. You may be able to understand more about this.
Yes, Prem. Thank you.
Yeah. So Prem, do share the foundation training document also today, so that we can go.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, Jitu. So we need to look at that. We are discussing something, right?
Yeah.
So shall we discuss that around 11:30?
Sure.
Okay then.
Thank
yeah, you. Let's meet at 11:30. Yeah. Okay then.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay then. Bye, guys. Thanks. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.